Okay, this right here is one of the first reasons why I think Leviticus is such an amazing book. Chapter 9, it's not the only high point of the book, but it's one of the big ones. Let's see why Leviticus is so dynamic and so exciting. Leviticus 9, 1 through 24. On the 8th day, Moses called Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel. And he said to Aaron, "Take for yourself a bull calf for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering, both without blemish, and offer them before the Lord. Say to the people of Israel, take a male goat for a sin offering and a calf and a lamb, both a year old without blemish, for a burnt offering, and an ox and a ram for peace offerings to sacrifice before the Lord, and a grain offering mixed with oil, for today the Lord will appear for you." And they brought what Moses commanded in front of the tent of meeting, and all the congregation drew near and stood before the Lord. And Moses said, "This is the thing that the Lord commanded you to do, that the glory of the Lord may appear to you." Then Moses said to Aaron, "Draw near to the altar, and offer your sin offering and your burnt offering, and make atonement for yourself and for the people, and bring the offerings of the people, and make atonement for them, as the Lord has commanded." Then Aaron lifted up his hands toward the people and blessed them. And he came down from offering the sin offering and the burnt offering and the peace offerings. And Moses and Aaron went into the tent of meeting. When they came out, and they blessed the people, and the glory of the Lord appeared to all the people. And the fire came out from before the Lord and consumed the burnt offering and the pieces of fat on the altar. When all the people saw it, they shouted and fell on their faces. This is definitely a high point. It's not the high point of Leviticus, but it's a big one. And really quick, I have it right here. Think back several weeks again, we talked about the cliffhanger at the end of the book of Exodus. Book of Exodus ends, they've created the tent of meeting, and we asked the question, how does the tent of meeting, which is the place where where we go to meet with God, and the tabernacle, these are two names for the tent of meeting. The tabernacle means the dwelling place. This is where God dwells. The tent of meeting means we can actually go into the dwelling place to meet with God. And the question at the end of Exodus is, how does the dwelling place become the tent of meeting? Because look, Moses was not able to enter the tent of meeting because the cloud had settled on it. The glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. The glory of the Lord is there, so Moses can't enter. Big problem, right? How on earth are we going to fix this? Enter the book of Leviticus. And so what we've seen for the last 8 chapters in Leviticus is God beginning to share with them the liturgy. This is your form of worship. And this kind of starts to an initial summary climactic moment from what's happened so far. And you can see they're actually bringing together most of all of these offerings that they've been talking about for the last several chapters. And so Aaron, who's the high priest, the main mediator between the people, and the people themselves are bringing all these offerings, the sin offering, which you've talked about, the peace offering, the burnt offering, the grain offering, they're bringing all these offerings that God has just been describing. They're drawing near, right? Tent of meeting, drawing near to the altar to offer that sin offering, your burnt offering. Make atonement for yourself and for the people. It's this acknowledgement. I keep saying it again and again, but it's always good to remind ourselves what atonement is. It's this idea of covering over. It doesn't actually get rid of my sin. At least here in the temple ceremony, we still need to deal with that. We still need to deal with intentional sin. Open rebellion against God is a major problem. We're going to get to that. But in general, when we're impure people, we're filthy, we're tainted by death and sin, God still wants a relationship with us. And so he's created all of these ways for us to actually cover over our sin, to make atonement so that we can enter in to the presence of the Lord. And here, kind of thinking back to the end of Exodus, this is one chapter that convinced me that Leviticus is one of the coolest books, the most dynamic books of the Old Testament, because it answers the question right here. Moses and Aaron went into the tent of meeting. When they came out and blessed the people, the glory of the Lord appeared to all the people. Just let that sink in for a little bit. Because back here, Moses, the man of God, if anyone could enter into the presence of the Lord, it was this guy right here. He was called by God. He was God's prophet. He went up on Mount Sinai. He was the one that received the tablet of the 10 Commandments and the law. But even he, at the end of Exodus, can't enter because of the glory of the Lord. But because of the sacrifices, this is the sacrificial system was a liturgy of grace. God said, I know you can't. None of you can. None of you are worthy. You will never be able to become worthy to enter my presence. But here is the liturgy of grace. Here is the form of worship that I have given you so that we can have a relationship. And after they perform this initial set of sacrifices, the glory of the Lord appears not just to Moses, but to everyone. All the people get to enter in to the presence of the Lord. And so this was not some legalistic religion. This was not a legalistic religion where the Jewish people were racked with this guilt and shame and feeling like I have to just continue to try my best to get rid of my sin, and I'm constantly sacrificing. Like a lot of the oversimplifications that Christians have given on the Old Testament law maybe comes up here. A lot of us have grown up believing this idea that the Old Testament was this religion of works. And that could not be farther from the truth. They were not earning their salvation. They were not racked with this like unending guilt. Actually, they had this sense of this, it was a joyous, grace-filled religion. They knew that the God of the universe wants a relationship with me, that he's created a way for me to become purified so that I can enter into his presence. And if you read it carefully enough, the text is clear that they were acknowledging that no animal is actually getting rid of my sin. I'm not becoming truly perfect, but God in his grace is covering it over, almost forestalling it. At some point, God's going to have to actually deal with this sin. But for now, God is saying, look, I want a relationship with you regardless. Do these things, give these offerings, and indeed, the dwelling place of God will become the tent of meeting. So now, not only Moses, not only Aaron, but all the people get to be a part of witnessing and entering into the glory of the Lord. So I hope that helps draw out why I love this book so much, where you have this great cliffhanger from nobody can enter God's presence to now God has made a way for us to enter his presence. And we're dealing with the same exact God. Different forms of worship. We don't do sacrifices today, but we are dealing with a God who did everything possible so that we could enter his presence again. And all the people were able to be a part of that. They entered into the presence. The glory of the Lord came down because they were able to complete these sacrifices that God gave out of grace. This is the liturgy of grace for God's people.